So it's now been a week since the release of Destiny 2 Shadowkeep, and oh boy, is it ever! Wait, what is it? Well, it's kind of Rise of Iron, kind of expansion, kind of not. TLDR, Shadowkeep is a bit light on the new content, but overwhelming on the quality of life changes. Destiny 2 is, however, greater than the sum of its parts, meaning that Shadowkeep is better than you would expect from the individual parts, because the way they combine, well, it adds a completely different quality. I'm going to do my best to avoid the big story spoilers. However, some of the footage in the background may have some visual spoilers within. For those of you who want to go in totally blind, proceed at your own risk. Let's start with some of the really good things, and frankly, Shadowkeep is quite good if you like the Destiny gameplay loops. Unlike in previous seasons, you can now unlock rewards as you gain XP from rank 1 to 100. These rewards are separated between like the free seasonal rewards that anybody can participate in and the season pass rewards. Season of the Undying Pass owners, you get rewards from both of the categories. All players will get the free seasonal rewards even if you don't own Shadowkeep, which is pretty darn hype. So this new Battle Pass model essentially replaces the Bright Engram system, finally giving Longtail XP some real reasons to push forward with. It also requires a Bungie to show the players what those rewards look like in the background. This works surprisingly well. I went into Shadowkeep rolling my eyes regarding the new system. I couldn't help but feel the emotions that Bungie was just chasing the current trends. But I was extremely wrong. This new setup alongside the free-to-play version of Destiny was a really clever addition. These seasonal rewards are really just background grinds, ones that don't eclipse the traditional Destiny hamster wheel gear and reward chases. Rather, the rewards from Season of the Undying really add an extra layer of gratification to an already immensely satisfying gear gameplay loop. Even if you are just playing the free version of Destiny 2, this allows you to sink your teeth into some seriously long tail investment grinds that have rewards that are not only visible, but clearly achievable based upon the amount of time that you put towards the game. More so, the new artifact for Season of the Undying Pass holders adds even new ways to enhance and customize your builds. This paired with Armor 2.0 makes Destiny 2 push much further in the RPG direction, and in a way that encourages you to customize your character further and further. Bungie have quite clearly made an intentional push to honor legacy players within Shadowkeep. There are lore allusions all over the place to events that Destiny 1 players will be extremely familiar with. My initial reaction with returning to the moon was honestly not that excited. However, after just an hour on the location, I was dead wrong. There is something absolutely intangible about returning to a location that was the home to so many fond Crota's End Run memories. Seeing similar geography and areas from Destiny 1 5 years later, after so much has occurred for our Guardians, and even more so, like big real-life events occurring for myself, well, let's just say it's a powerful set of feelings coming back here. The artwork, as always, is unparalleled within the industry. The visuals of Destiny 2 are just gorgeous. And while the moon is nowhere near the scale of the size of the locations that we visited within Forsaken, it remains a labyrinth of spooky underground pathways, tied together with a foreboding overworld chock full of enemies, chests, lore, and secrets to discover. I'm very happy we got the chance to return to the moon. There are rumors floating around that this new era of a Bungie-owned and controlled Destiny is one where we may possibly see Bungie begin to add other classic Destiny 1 content into Destiny 2. It's really odd. This world of live service games, where you still have a world within Destiny 1, it's out there, but now it's a ghost town as most players have moved on to Destiny 2. Is it even possible to preserve legacy live service content? And if so, how do you do it? I know that seeing some of the classic raids return in Destiny 2 would be received immensely positively by the player base. Seeing the moon and many of these locations reminds you as a player just how much the game has changed, how much we as players have changed. 5 years ago, people didn't know what type of game Destiny was or what it was gonna be. And now looking back at these areas, It really does hit you hard in the face just how much the game has progressed, how we as players have learned to adapt and tackle challenges within this universe, and just how much evolution has come to this title. Say what you will about Bungie, but the games they release impact the games industry in really big ways. Overall, the location of the moon, while being a bit smaller than I had hoped, remained very satisfying. And hopefully, it is a taste of more legacy-preserving decisions to come. Abrupt ending, however, with substantial twists. I mean, there isn't much I really want to say here, as talking about the story inevitably involves spoilers. And frankly, the progressions that occur during the Shadowkeep narrative are ones that should only be experienced by an individual playing it, not by Dragoon talking about it after the fact. At its core, I would say that the story's conclusion leaves the player a bit unsatisfied, especially when you think about it in terms of Forsaken. However, Shadowkeep isn't Forsaken, and Shadowkeep managed to balance a lot of huge changes, which we'll cover soon. But with a dungeon to come, a very well-received raid, and an entire season to unravel further mysteries, I have no doubt that what was experienced in the story is the stepping block towards some really big things to come. Speaking of those big things, let's talk about the big things that happened with Shadowkeep. HUD improvements, cross-save, Steam, seasonal rewards, new light, Armor 2.0, the new Nightfall system. Shadowkeep at its core is an evolution. Not a massive content drop full of endless quests and new areas and a lengthy story, no. It's an expansion that marks a big transition point for the studio as we enter the back 5 years of this decade-long journey. I saw some players saying that Bungie should have released New Light a week before Shadowkeep's release to avoid the launch day 3-hour emergency downtime. While I definitely didn't enjoy the game being down for 3 hours, especially on launch day, I have to admire Bungie trying to juggle a lot of balls at the same time. A huge account migration, cross-save, New Light, Shadowkeep, Armor 2.0, etc. The Steam chart numbers. They show that Destiny 2 on Steam is where it was meant to be. Seriously, it's so cool to finally see some macro-level decisions about this franchise that feel good, and they land correctly. That makes sense. Having a free-to-play version that contains, frankly, a ridiculous amount of stuff to play and collect makes perfect sense for this type of game. You want to play the most current content? Here's the expansion. However, but for so many players, can you imagine going back and getting the chance to re-experience everything from D2 vanilla onward until just about Shadowkeep? Now that's a lot of stuff, okay? I like this new model, I like this new paradigm, and we're moving in a direction that encourages Bungie to make quality expansions that incentivize playing on day one, but don't punish players who choose not to. Okay, now that I've hit on the positives, what are the drawbacks? Well, if you don't like the grind of going after your dailies and weeklies, then you probably won't like Shadowkeep. It's an investment game, which means the hamster wheel crawls on. Once you wrap up the quick story and hit 900 power, which can be done in under 5 to 6 hours, you're back to the normal rinse-repeat powerful engram grind. For some, this is awesome and gratifying. However, for others, it can be a bit monotonous. This is the area of the game that I really want to see keep expanding. I enjoy story developments, but I would much rather see like 7 or 8 new strikes added to the game, since I'll be playing the strikes week in and week out for months. Dungeon content is fantastic, and I love that we've been getting them with our expansions, but I would not be opposed to ditching the story content and just getting a lot of these evergreen long-tail forms of play engagement. This is something that really could use a facelift. Strikes are fantastic and such a fun, unique experience within the FPS space. More, please, Bungie. But beyond that simple critique of, well, if you don't like the hamster wheel grind, it's not for you, Shadowkeep is pretty rad. I'm really enjoying it, and I cannot wait to see how the season unfolds. Here's the real takeaway. If you aren't ready to buy Shadowkeep, let's say you aren't interested in the new raid or the story or artifact system, which I didn't even get the chance to cover in this video, just install New Light and play. That's the beauty of the new hierarchy of the game. There's so much to do, and plenty of free Season of the Undying rewards to try and earn. Yes, earn, not grind and hope it randomly drops. And if you're enjoying yourself and want to play the most current content, sure, go for it, spend the money. But in this new Destiny 2 paradigm, there's no excuse not to try it. The amount of content free in New Light is pretty wild. I'm very hopeful for the direction of the game, and I think this is going to be one of the best seasons yet. But time will tell, you never know. Things can definitely change over the course of the next 6 to 8 weeks. If you enjoyed this video, guys, please let me know by liking it, subscribe to the channel, follow me over on Twitter at BBKDRAGOON. If you're playing Shadowkeep or Destiny 2 New Light, tell me about it. What platform, what's been the experience so far? I want to know about it. Thanks for watching, have a good rest of your day, and I will see you again very soon.